Season 2 of the Pat and JT podcast.
Oh man, I'm here at last. The best time, always gonna be the best. Come on!
Exclusively on the Hurrdat Media Network.
402-403-9478. Don't forget, that's the number you can text in. If you have any questions, any comments and stuff we've been talking about, or you want to throw your birthday and year in for Dana Camp, who comes in once a month. If you missed the last episode with her, highly suggest you check that out. It's pretty awesome. Love having Dana in. Coming up at the end of our podcast, JT's on vacation, so she's not in today. Coming up at the end of our of this episode, Pat Stibbs is going to be in talking about an event that I'm going to be at this weekend, and then JT's going to be at with me next month. Lakeside Plaza presents a socially distanced drive-in movie night at Lakeside Plaza. This is going to be their second year doing this kind of an event born out of COVID, but they're showing Wonder Woman 1984 out at Lakeside this weekend, the 5th. It's a Saturday night, so it's going to be a lot of fun, and he's going to be in with the people from Lakeside Plaza to talk about that and how you can get out there with the family. It's going to be a cool event. So as you guys know, we work for and are Hurrdat Media. We were Parkville, now we're Hurrdat Media, and we have over 60 shows on our network, and it's been a minute since we've gone through some of the shows that we produce here for the network. We've talked about many of them before. We have a new one that started about 2 weeks ago, maybe. He's a friend of the show. You guys know him. He's our one and only Nebrastronaut, Clayton Anderson, and he launched a podcast and video series last week through Hurrdat Media. It's called Making of an Ordinary Spaceman, and it's awesome. So it's available anywhere you can get your podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever, and also on hurrdatmedia.com. You can click through there as well. And he sits down with all the people that made him who he is today, from his family and friends. And as we go on down the road with this show, he's going to be bringing in mentors from NASA, other astronauts, and just talking about what it takes and what it took him to become where he is now. Clay Anderson, our very own Nebrastronaut, the only astronaut from Nebraska, and as he says, probably going to be the only astronaut ever from Nebraska because of the way NASA has changed some things. So we'll see how that goes in the future. Hopefully that's not the case. But Making of an Ordinary Spaceman, episode 1, he had his wife Susan in with him to talk about just, the day they found out he was actually going to be an astronaut and going into space.
And I'm standing there with one foot up on the desk, waiting, and the lady answers the phone and says, "Crew quarters, how may I help you?" And I'm thinking, crew quarters? What's crew quarters?
I'm like, yahoo, we know what this is. Well,
you didn't know yet.
Well, kind of. I was ready with the camera. I got the little instant camera, the ones that, had 15 pictures on them or whatever.
Yeah, disposables.
Yeah.
And I said, well, this is Clayton Anderson, and I got a page to this number, and I think you want my wife, Susan, because she's a part of the Shuttle Mir Phase 1 program, which was the launch that we were there to see, the last launch. And so I said, I think you want her, and she goes, stand by. Stand by. And so I waited, and then she came back and she said, Dave Leesma will be with you in a moment.
And that's when I said, oh, I know what this is.
Dave Leesma, he's the head of all the astronauts. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, I think I know what this is. And Dave Leesma comes on and he says, Clay, this is Dave Leesma. How are you? I'm good, sir. And he says, hey, are you still interested in becoming a long-duration mission specialist? Yeah. I'm sure I used a good astronaut voice. Yeah. And he said, when you coming back to Houston? And I said, we're leaving today. And he says, well, I'll see you then. Congratulations. And I hung up the phone. I look at my wife. She's bawling. She's got mascara coming down her eyeball. And I'm sitting there going, oh, my God, I'm going to be an astronaut. And we hugged.
And then there was nobody around.
And then we ran outside.
And there was nothing.
Nobody to tell.
That's my favorite. That's hilarious. The biggest news of his life, and there's nobody to hug. That's awesome. Another podcast that we produce here, we've talked about him many times. You guys know him, Dax Holt, and his partner Adam Glenn do the Hollywood Raw podcast. And I'm not secretive on my love for Bravo and all things Bravo. One of the shows that I love on Bravo, $1 Million Listing New York, $1 Million Listing LA. Last week, two shows are great. Last week, the episode that they dropped on Wednesday of last week, Tyler Whitman from $1 Million Listing New York was on, and he's one of the new guys. It's only his second season on the show. The show's been around for a number of years, but he talks about, Adam asks him, we've all wondered how these guys get selected to be on shows like that.
How did you get on the show?
It was just they don't like us to talk about it, but it was pretty organic. I was posting a lot of quirky marketing videos of myself. I'm clearly not shy with the camera. It was all over my social media, and they found it. Next thing I knew, there was a contract in my email.
That's incredible.
Does it make it easier to be a real estate agent when you're on TV? And I just mean because I think about how much money real estate agents put into marketing and advertising themselves. That's why I get flyers on my door. That's why real estate agents, pictures are on every sale sign. So when you're on national television, do the deals just start coming to you?
No. And that was actually the biggest misconception that I had. I thought that I remember the day after my first episode, I was like, okay, team. I was like, we need to be in the office. I was like, our phones, and we just kind of sat there why is nobody calling? I thought we were famous now. And if anything, and Ryan was very generous with advice on this. And I took it, and now it's amazing. Because, he has built a real estate empire for himself through being on the show. And, he was like, when was the last time you watched a TV show and it got to the end and you were like, I'm going to call that guy? He's like, if anything, you become a little bit unattainable.
Such a great point. I never thought about it from that angle. And last show I'm going to talk about today before we get to Pat Stibbs and talking about Lakeside Plaza's drive-in movie night is Schick and Nick. One of my favorite shows on our network. I love Nick Baugh has his own podcast, the Nick Baugh Podcast. Schick and Nick, they've been doing their radio show and podcast now for over 12 years. I mean, a combination of the two. And something, again, you can find all these podcasts. I'm going to link them in the description of our podcast here, this episode. But then also you can find them anywhere, iTunes, Stitcher, Google, all over the place. But Matt Schick works for ESPN. Nick Baugh works for Fox Sports. And then they both do each of their respective podcasts, but they're hilarious. Even if you're they talk about in this episode that somebody that Matt works with, even if he doesn't feel like laughing, he listens to their show because it makes him feel better, and it's absolutely true. A lot of people don't understand it, but it's really funny. So Matt was talking about he had made a mistake while he was calling a baseball game on ESPN over the weekend, and apparently he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Look, it's the first time I've ever made a mistake, ever.
I know. Tell me about it.
Either on the air or off the air.
You've
in my life.
never made a mistake, not once.
So and my wife is listening and she's laughing. Kelly, is it or is it not the first time I've ever made a mistake?
No. Perfect.
All right.
Perfect comedic timing.
My second witness is no further questions. Get her off the stand.
Fifth Amendment.
So this is like, why'd we have her try on the glove? Should never have
You just
done
had
that.
to ask your wife, didn't you? We had him believing it was your first mistake.
Dang it, Darden. All right, so anyway, this is the first mistake I've ever made in my life, and so it was new for me, right?
Yeah,
It was like, oh my goodness,
uncharted
never
territory.
misspoke.
Welcome to the club. I can show you all around the mistake club.
What is this land of mistakes I've now entered?
You'll become very used to mistake land. It gets easier and easier to come to mistake land. Why am I a creepy person?
Why do you have to do that?
I don't know.
So
I love it. The Schick and Nick show. So there we go. There's three examples of podcasts that we produce here at Hurrdat Media, the Schick and Nick Show, The Making of an Ordinary Spaceman, and Hollywood Raw. You can find all those on our network page at hurrdatmedia.com or anywhere you find your podcasts. All right, so hopefully you guys can join me coming up on June 5th. It's Saturday night. It's Lakeside Plaza presenting the drive-in movie night, socially distanced drive-in movie night. It's really cool. And Pat Stibbs is here to talk more about that. All right, so Pat Stibbs is back with us. What's up, Stibbsy? How's it going,
How you doing there,
Good.
Mr. Safford?
So we've been talking about, Jill and I were mentioning this a little bit ago, about the Lakeside Drive-In. What is the event called this Saturday?
It's called the Socially Distant Drive-In Movie Night. Isn't that written?
I didn't want to screw it up. I knew it was long.
Socially Distant Drive-In Movie Night.
Okay, got it. Didn't want to screw it up.
And this is the second year that we've done these. The first year born out of the fact that COVID hit and, everybody was kind of freaking out about to go outdoor or to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And,
first of all, where is it?
Lakeside Plaza is out at 173rd and Center.
Which I was explaining it to my wife, and I'm like, "This is what we're doing." This is where she goes, "There's not a theater. There's not a drive-in." I'm like, "That's the whole point. That's the whole point.
That's it.
That's the whole point." Okay, so it was born out of COVID.
It was born out of COVID, yeah, because we had lots of events out there, and I've had lots of events at Lakeside Plaza for quite some time. And usually it involved, an event that Brianne would, and who I'm going to introduce in just a second, would put together, and then we'd be out there promoting with the various radio stations and live remotes and this and that. Well, really couldn't do that last year with COVID, having to keep everybody apart, so to speak.
Yeah.
Well, the drive-in movie theaters last year just skyrocketed as far as reopening again and people doing these types of events all over the country. So I sat down with Brianne one time and said, you know what, we really should do a drive-in. And it was actually her idea that came up with the socially distanced drive-in movie night, and then, show a popular film and, bring out some of the characters, the Disney characters or movie characters.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it just was fantastic.
But I'm glad you're not slowing down now that restrictions are kind of easing up, that you're going to do it again.
Exactly. And, because everybody loves going to a drive-in. Or going to a drive-in event. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what Lakeside Plaza is doing, is creating these drive-in movie events. So we have people come out early, park their car. There's several really good restaurants there at Lakeside Plaza. And so it's a lot of fun. And so this Saturday we're showing Wonder Woman 1984, and Wonder Woman herself will be there. She will be in appearance from 7 to 9 for the kids to meet. Cool. And she's always great. When we've had her at several events, and the kids love her.
Yeah,
so that should be fun.
So where is the screen set up?
The screen is set up actually in the parking lot.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to do, is it okay to introduce?
Yeah, let's go.
So I'm going to introduce Brianne.
Let's have
Hansen.
the whole conversation at the very end, introduce her, and say see ya.
See ya, yeah. Goodbye, Brianne. So this is Brianne Hansen. I want to say hello to Brianne.
Hi, Brianne.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
And so Brianne is the marketing director of Lakeside Plaza. So, kind of give us a lowdown, Brianne, on the festivities for Saturday, where the screen will be, how we do it, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so Saturday parking opens up at 6 p.m., and that's when you can start parking your car, but the movie doesn't start till 9. The movie screen will actually be in front of the giant space next to Avant Salon and Day Spa.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's literally a giant parking lot, so it gives you plenty of room to park, and we make sure, if you have a smaller car, you get front row parking, and then.
So you're not going to put like a moving truck in the front row?
No, but we do put the screen up on a lift, so then that way it's able for everyone to see. We realized last year that gives you an opportunity. We had over 200 cars last year.
Jeez.
And so. And it just was such a great success. It gives an opportunity for people to kind of just check out what is at Lakeside, and then also just enjoy a movie, which is completely free to come do. So there's no fee. All you have to do is park your car, and we'll guide you through everything. And then there'll be stuff from our tenants to check out, as well as all of our restaurants will be open.
That's a great idea. It's so nice to hear that sentence again. So our restaurants will all be open.
Our restaurants will all be open.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And it is so cool because we also, as people come out and park their car and get some food, we have some festivities going on during the 2 hours. Matter of fact, you yourself, Mr. Safford, will be out there.
Yes.
And so we're going to have the infamous Lakeside Plaza prize wheel.
Oh, really?
And lots of Disney prizes to give out so the kids can spin to win all kinds of fun stuff. And you know what? Everybody asks when I do these events, and everybody loves the prize wheel. And one time somebody said to me, "Do you think you'll ever get rid of the prize wheel?" I said, "No, because until people until people don't like them anymore." I mean, prize wheels have been around for a very long time. I personally have had them at my events for over 35 years, and I've tried other things without having the prize wheel. One time I actually brought a slot machine that you could.
It's not as fun.
It's not as fun. And in fact, you and I were both at Sweet 98 when I did this. So I had a slot machine, and then you could have different logos, including the radio station. So you could pull the lever, and then if 3 Sweet 98 things came up, you won $1,000. So obviously you rig it to where it only wins, or it only pays off once every million times or whatever,
like everything else in radio.
Exactly. But the thing is if people they liked it for 2 weeks, and then it was like, can you bring the prize wheel back?
Yeah.
'Cause it just wasn't as fun.
There's something about the rush of watching it spin. It gets so close to the major prize that just makes you want to spin the wheel.
I know. Well, it's a lot like Wheel of Fortune. When you watch Wheel of Fortune,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, 10,000. Oh my gosh, bankrupt. Oh, and it's same kind of thing. You're watching that wheel get to, and it's a rush.
Yeah, agreed.
People love it.
Yeah,
people love it.
I agree. No, I'm excited to be out there on Saturday. My family's going to come with me.
Awesome.
So we're going to get out there and we're going to park early, and we're going to have a great time.
Watch us catch Pat selling tickets to this thing. Off to the side.
Scalping
It's a free event.
$5 a piece.
Why'd that guy charge me $5, Mr. Stibbs? I don't know.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go there, park right at 6 o'clock, and sell my parking spot. Get on Facebook Live, sell my parking spot for $100.
Well, and as Brianne said, we do have the giant screen provided by Big O Bounce. It's also it's on a stand, and then also what we do is we bring a flatbed truck to elevate it even higher. So we have the flatbed truck plus the stand plus the screen. So as Brianne said, with 200 some maybe more cars, you want to make sure everyone can see this thing all the way in the back. Because without that flatbed, it is a little bit tougher if you're parked in back to see the thing. So this way, everybody will be able to see the giant screen. And
will people be able to sit on their hoods of their cars and watch it, or is it all inside?
Yeah. We you are welcome to sit outside of your cars, bring lawn chairs. We had people set up picnic blankets. We had kids sitting on the top of cars so they could view it. Any way you want to do it, we'll have some tables out for people who are interested in eating their dinner and don't want to be by their cars. So we'll have that option. We'll definitely have more options now that COVID restrictions are less. So there'll be a lot more options to move around compared to last year.
Cool.
Now, we do recommend you don't sit on other people's cars. That's one thing.
That's one thing that's frowned upon.
That can make people a little irate. I don't know. Unless it's my car, I don't care. It's old. I don't care if you sit on my car. You might hurt yourself with the rust or something.
So this Saturday,
6
o'clock is when you can start parking your car. Show starts at 9.
Yes,
correct.
And
cool.
and Pat Safford from the Pat and JT podcast.
Very, very exciting.
And our friend Rich Cassidy from Yes We're Open will also
he's
be out
there.
there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he was
Haven't seen Rich
excited
in a long
to
time.
know you were coming out. He was like, "All right, I get to see Safford again."
Yeah, I haven't seen him forever.
Yeah, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun to have you come on his Facebook Live thing and vice versa. And of course the lovely Brianne and Faith. We have to introduce Faith.
We haven't
introduced Faith. Faith, are you coming?
Maybe. Come and see and find out.
Faith Pusick is going to be there. She's going to be taking over for Brianne shortly. And so that's why we brought her, because the new kid brings the beer.
That's right.
That's part of the deal.
Or at least pays for the pizza. One of the two.
So yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. We recommend everyone come out. Lakeside Plaza this coming Saturday. Like I said, parking at 6. Broadcasting will start at 7 with the giveaways. Wonder Woman will be there from 7 to 9.
Cool.
And then at 9 o'clock, at dusk, the show begins.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Pat. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks. I'll see you guys, everybody on Saturday.
Everybody on Saturday.
And then again in July as well.
Yes, and then
we'll talk about that down the road.
Down the road, we'll talk about When Harry Met Sally in July, and for special date night, which should be fun.
Sweet. All right. Well, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pat. And all the details, if you missed any of those, are in the description of this episode. And Hollywood Raw, Making of an Ordinary Spaceman, and Schick and Nick also down there as well. Thanks for listening. Rate, review, and subscribe our show. Thanks.
Pat and JT Podcast, a Hurrdat Media Production.